Good evening, everyone. It is 7:03, and I'm going to check in with Janice. I'm pretty sure that we have our quorum to get started. Annual Charles Village Civic Association meeting. Janice, can you confirm that?
Yes, we do, Miller.
Wonderful. So I'd like to go ahead and get started, and I've shared with everyone our agenda for this evening on the screen. As usual, we have a full agenda, and I'm just finishing up another meeting here about the neighborhood. So I'm going to turn the floor over to Janice to talk about the vote for the slate of officers. This is, it's time again for you to elect officers for the organization. It's been a wonderful year being of service, and you now have the opportunity to give me the boot if you want to. And then I'll be right back. So Janice, it's all yours.
Thanks so much, Miller. Yeah, every year the CVCA membership votes on a slate of officers and directors for the coming board year, which begins October 1st. And our slate this year consists of 18 people who reside in Charles Village or have their principal place of business in Charles Village. And it's, as is our practice, really by what's the word I'm looking for? Anyway, the way we do it is the slate is made up of committed men and women who geographically and demographically represent the larger Charles Village community. And tonight we're voting on a slate that includes 4 new candidates and 66 existing board members who are running for another 2-year term. And it also includes 8 people who are serving the second year of a 2-year term that expires next September. And in addition, we have 5 officer candidates who are running for a 1-year term expiring in September of next year. And you can see the listing on the screen. But those our candidates include for running for officers, we've got Miller Roberts, who's running for another term as president, Paul Weber, who's running for another term as vice president, Rich Walther, who is running for another term as secretary, as treasurer, and Juque Collier, who is running as our recording secretary, and I'm running for another term as membership secretary. And then for the directors, excuse me, we have, again, 4 new members who are running for a 2-year term ending in September of 23. And that includes Juque Collier from the 3300 block of North Charles Street, Matthew Duganzik from the 2700 block of North Howard Street, Keith Harris from the 2400 block of St. Paul Street, and Jordan Steele from the 2600 block of North Calvert Street. And then we have 6 directors, existing directors, who are running for another 2 years, including myself in the 2500 block of North Calvert, George Helfrich, 2500 block of Maryland, Gina LaFaro in the 3000 block of North Calvert Street, Miller Roberts in the 2300 block of St. Paul Street, Rich Walther in the 200 block of East 32nd Street, and Paul Weber in the 2700 block of North Howard Street. And then we do have a number of directors who are serving out the second year of their 2-year term that began last year. And that includes Brian Beverly in the 2500 block of Guilford Avenue, Jim Casey, the 2700 block of St. Paul Street, Liz Cornish of the 2700 block of Maryland, Alex Hargadon, the 2900 block of St. Paul Street, Chris Massage, the 2500 block of Guilford, Sandy Sparks in the 2900 block of Guilford, John Spurrier in the 400 block of East 31st Street, and Beth Tone in the 2500 block of St. Paul Street. So that is our slate. and you are being asked to vote on the slate. And the voting, to be a qualified voter, you must be a CVCA, a Charles Village Civic Association member. And for those members who wish to vote, please go to the login, the URL that's located in the chat box. If you click on the chat box at the bottom of your screen, the URL will pop up on the right of your screen, and just click on that URL and it'll take you to the ballot. And once you're in the ballot, just vote on the slate, either yes, no, or abstain. And then key in your name and your address associated with your CVCA membership and click submit. It's that easy. And households, a number of our household memberships have 2 voting members, and each member is allowed to vote, of course, but each person's vote is a separate transaction. So after one person's voted, just close your browser, reopen the browser, and click on the link, and then the second member can vote. And you can vote anytime between now and the polls will close, we think around 7:45 or whenever right before the meeting ends. So obviously the sooner you vote, the better it is. And then we will make every effort to get those votes verified and counted before the meeting ends tonight. But in any case, the results will be posted on our website, charlesvillage.net, and as well as on our Facebook page and whatever media outlets we've got. So it won't remain a mystery. We will know very, very shortly in any case. So does anybody have any questions about the voting process? Anything I haven't covered? Okay, and if anybody would like to vote, is uncomfortable using the link provided, before the polls close, you will have an opportunity to cast a voice vote, and I'll just record it on my tally here. So everybody who is eligible to vote, who wants to vote, will be able to do that before we close the voting. So if nobody has any questions, Miller, it's your show again.
Thank you, and I appreciate all the work that you put into this annual process. And I just want to remind everyone, unlike Chicago, this is not a situation where you vote early and vote often. Janice, did you want to talk about membership real quick?
Sure. We're always looking for members. We have various membership levels, from a 10-year sustaining membership for $100 to an annual membership for $15 a household. And if you're not a member, but you're watching tonight, we would love to have you as a member. Obviously, you're interested in the community, and you can join pretty easily by going to charlesvillage.net. And you can join, just fill out the form online and pay through PayPal or a credit card. Or you can just, if you get the Charles Villager, which we certainly hope everybody does, there is a membership form in there, and you can just clip that out and send me a check along with your membership form, and we'll get you started right away. And I hope if you're not a member that you will seriously consider, because we do a lot of really great work, not just in the community in terms of working with the city and other groups on everything from, the liquor board to people who want to convert their houses into apartments or whatever. Our land use committee is probably the most active committee in the CVCA. And we also do a lot of events that are just community building events and a few fundraisers. And it's a lot of fun. as well as doing a lot of good work for the community. So if you're not a member, again, I hope you will consider. And if you're an individual member, you will be getting a letter probably in the next couple of months asking you to renew your membership. So I hope you'll do that as well. And
Thank you,
thank you
Janet.
for your time, Miller. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time to tell everybody that.
And I just want to thank a couple of organizations, including Johns Hopkins University. There's several departments that are sponsoring students who want to become a member and maybe don't have the funds. We all remember being on a tight college budget. They're community members as well, and hope that they will join us at the table to talk about how to make this a better community for us all. So we're going to go ahead and move on to safety and security. This evening, I asked Northern District, Johns Hopkins University, and CVCBD here, all to give just a little talk about some of the crime that we've had recently in our area and how they are collaborating to help address some of the crime and just any other announcements. I know that Major Shorter is running from another meeting, but is going to join us momentarily. So I think what I'll do, Sergeant Vini, and you can let me know once he's joined, I'll go and let JHU, Jerron Jackson, who's the Senior Director of Campus Safety and Security, talk a little bit and make any announcements that he would like to make.
Thank you, Miller. I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate not have to follow up Major Shorter. But speaking of Major Shorter, I just want to say, Sergeant Vini, please convey this for me. I can't express my appreciation enough for Northern District and their communication and their outreach and their support. While we obviously have dealt with a few crime sprees or crime incidents, particularly, we've all heard about the carjackings that were taking place in late August. Northern District was very responsive, and we worked in collaboration to try to mitigate, those incidents as much as we can. When I say that, we took a lot of time and communication in developing deployment strategies that utilize, the utmost of both of our resources, and combining those resources, I think, were instrumental in, bringing that crime spree to a close. But again, just like you said, Miller, it's about coming to the table, and solving crime problems and making this a safer community. And that's what we did with the help of not just Northern District, but also with CVCBD. They were always communicating, asking us questions, and also extending a hand of helpfulness to us. And I definitely appreciate Christina and her team for all their support as well. In terms of announcements, we do have a new Vice President for Public Safety, Mr. Branville, Dr. Branville Bard. I'm sure he'll be meeting with your group relatively soon. His calendar is pretty full, as you can imagine. There were a host of things that were thrown in his lap as soon as he walked through the door. So he definitely will be speaking with you soon. And I know there are sometimes questions about, how do I get alerts from Johns Hopkins? How do I sign up? How can I look at past alerts? And the easiest and simplest way to do it is to go to publicsafety.jhu.edu. Once you're on that website, it allows you to not only look at our past alerts, but to sign up for new alerts as well. And thank you again for the time this evening.
Thank you. I'm going to go to the Charles Village Community Benefits District. We have Mr. Ronald Brooks, who's the Director of Safety. Ron, are you there? I think I saw you dial in.
Yes.
Okay, maybe there's some audio issues. Christine, I don't know if you can text him and just let him know. Oh, wait, I see. Hold on, I see him. And let me see if I can unmute and fix this. I think I just asked him. Okay, well, while he works on that, let's go to Northern District. And I know Sergeant Vini is here and can maybe give us some updates. I was just on another call where they were talking about just the great decreases in crime in Northern District overall. And I don't know if you have some of those numbers, but any other announcements that you'd like to make?
don't. The major is gonna do his presentation. I just put my information in the chat for any issues or concerns, and he's gonna give an overview of and basically go in depth about the recent carjacking activities and how we're gonna disseminate the information. So he's gonna go into that. He said he should be on by 7:30. So I'll advise you when he gets on.
Okay. So Semper Gumby, I can be flexible here. So we're going to move on. Actually, I know that the councilwoman has a town hall this evening. And so I'm going to pull in our first three announcements. And do we have a representative from the mayor's office on this evening? If not, Councilwoman, I would give the floor to you to do any announcements that you have.
Thanks, Miller. Hi, everybody. I'm sorry that I have to leave at 8, but glad to be here with you all. And I'm a neighbor, so this is my community association as well, as the Able Improvement Association. I just wanted to give a couple of updates. One is Friday is a big day, October 1st. The plastic bag ban is starting on that day. So when you go to the Giant, they may have some plastic bags there, but you're gonna have to pay for them. So what we want you to do is bring your reusable bags. And not just at the Giant, but any retailer that that you have, and if they're going to charge you at least 5 cents for any other alternative bag. But the idea is to get rid of a certain type of plastic bag. So just be aware of that and make sure you have your plan for your bags. Also on Friday, the homeowners property tax credit deadline is on Friday. So if you're eligible, if you earn $60,000 or less in income and own your home, you could be eligible for this tax credit. I can put the information in the chat as well. We have a lot of stuff. On October 16th, we're hosting a job fair over at the Waverly Y. Many of our employers are participating. So if you are an employer and want to participate, that would be great. If you are need a job or know of somebody who needs a job, please come as well. It's from noon to 3 o'clock at the Waverly Y. It should be outside, but we'll be inside it all masked up if it's raining outside. The city council just passed my bill in committee to have property taxes paid monthly. If you sign up for the program, it won't be implemented till next year, but it's an exciting opportunity to make sure that people don't fall into tax sales. So that's very exciting. We have another vaccine clinic coming up on October 3rd over at the Our Savior Lutheran Church. And also rental assistance is still available if somebody is in trouble and facing eviction. There is lots of rental assistance money available. So I'll put the number in the chat where people can deal with putting that, if you need some rental assistance. So those were my announcements. I'm on the Public Safety and Government Operations Committee in the City Council, and today we did have a hearing, our quarterly hearing on crime stats, just to blend back into that conversation. Northern District and Northeast District are, knock on wood, doing very well in terms of crime stats, but there's still a lot of work to do. The carjackings have been very scary. There have been some arrests. So I know the major will talk a little bit about that, because we have the same issue in Edna Gardens, which is in the Northeast District. So that doesn't mean it's going to end, because we think it's a bigger group of young people, but at least we are there's some progress there. And it's unfortunate that it's young people. So I'm hoping that we might be able to do something else besides just arrest them and put them away, and then they'll come back. Hopefully that we can intervene in some way. And and help them out and their families. So anyway, those are my kind of big announcements. I do have a weekly email newsletter that comes out on Mondays. You can email me to sign up for that newsletter. And I've started my town halls, Wednesday night town halls at 8 o'clock. I had DPW last week, and then I have a celebration of Hispanic Heritage Month today and next week. And then we'll go back into agencies. So we'll have DOT, we'll have police, we're gonna have lots of other agencies and information during those town halls. So thanks everybody. Thanks for being involved in the community. There's a lot of great things happening and it's great to be here with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions for the councilwoman? Any? I know we normally throw them in the chat so we can read them off. So I think we're good. I would go ahead and open the floor for Councilman Stokes or anyone from his office. And I think tonight's like the night of meetings. So I'll check the list later to pull them back in. So we'll go on to another topic that I know is near and dear to everyone's heart, traffic calming and traffic patterns. And I have to say that I just learned that William Haynes is our new chief of traffic, and I can't wait until the councilwoman or councilman gets him to attend our meeting to talk about all the wonderful ideas that we have about traffic patterns in our neighborhoods. But with that, I just want to turn the floor over to Jennifer, who can talk about some of the things that have happened, and I'm sure that the councilwoman will also chime in with some of the things that she's been working on under that topic. So floor is yours.
All right, good evening, everybody, and I'm sorry about the lighting. I've been trying to fix it so that you can actually see my face. I'm not sure that's that important, but my name is Jennifer Weeks. I have taken over the reins of the traffic calming committee that was led for a number of years by my neighbor, Sandy Sparks. She quickly cornered me and asked me to take it on for her. And it's really been really fun. So I've been doing this essentially for 2 years, but in the middle of this, of course, we had a huge pandemic. So we met twice in the early part of 2020. And then we recently reconvened on August 31st to discuss our concerns with traffic in the community. And I think we really do believe that traffic behavior has really become even worse since the pandemic. And of course, that's mostly through anecdotal evidence, but we're principally focused in this committee on speed and trying to calm traffic. But there are, of course, lots of issues around that. Our principal issue has really been focused around the 28th, the behavior and the speeds on 28th and 29th, and a lot of our our north-south running couplets, Calvert, St. Paul, etc. But when we met on the 31st, I just want to recognize a few people. We were joined by a number of people from adjacent communities who have, of course, that have the same interests that we do. We had Brian Ten, Sept from Tuscany Canterbury. We had Diane and a couple people from Able Foundation, and we are Able Association, excuse me. And we had some representation from Harwood. I also want to thank Ron Brooks for his attendance, because it was really important to have someone with a safety eye attend. And I really want to thank Gabriel Stewart-Sicko from Councilwoman Ramos's office, who attended and was really instrumental in helping us to focus our agenda. I had everybody go around and tell us what their primary concerns were. And as no one here is really that surprised, the speeds and the accidents and what I consider sort of the vehicular manslaughter practically that, and I'm sorry, I can be very dramatic sometimes, but that's on 28th and 29th, particularly affecting the neighborhood, but also concerns about Barclay School, Barclay Elementary, are really principal, and we're very concerned about it. We're also concerned about the speeds along St. Paul Street in Calvert, at St. Paul, right along Margaret Brentwood Elementary School, elementary and middle school, right there at 26th. We're very concerned that when cars exit the development or the district, the benefits district, where we have our signage, and we have a single lane of traffic, they exit to the 2 lanes and they literally position themselves and go bolting down the road. We asked a lot of questions about sort of broad policy and holistic solutions to traffic, because one of our interests is not transporting our issues to another place. Frequently, if you calm traffic on one road, that traffic moves to the next road and it simply displaces or transfers that problem. And that's simply not of our interest at all. We know this is a problem throughout the city, but we were recommended, or we were advised, excuse me, by the councilwoman's office to really, in the short term, identify low-hanging fruit, identify things that could be fixed like that, and that would not require a lot of decision-making on the part of DOT or policymakers. And so things like the lack of striping on 28th was noted, bollards in the few areas where we do have traffic calming, and there has been some progress in that. Those coming down, those, you know, he said, just send us pictures, send us very specific needs and things that you have seen. And not only send it to him, but he suggested that we use 311. And so the reason I'm announcing this is that those are vehicles we all can use whenever we see something that we know is not right. And so I encourage all of you to do that. I want to offer a special shout out to our neighbor and friend, Paul Weber, who submitted a fairly comprehensive list of shortcomings and things that he saw. And so we really have some work underway in that regard. We also have had some other progress and wins that are a little bit more comprehensive. So we had the new bollards set up at St. Paul and 28th, and we understand that there will be a similar treatment at 29th and St. Paul. So in both cases, forcing people to just practically slow to a screeching halt before turning, which is always a really big deal to our pedestrians in particular. You know, that it has taken place. And one of the things I just noticed on my way home this evening for this meeting is that there's now a sign on Calvert as you are traveling north at 28th that has not only the speed limit, but actually shows people their travel speeds. And I'm very excited about that. I just noticed it today. I don't know how long it's been up, but I would be curious to see how that works. And I really am hoping. All that being said, my interest as in leadership on this, and I think that of many of our members, is really looking for much more holistic, comprehensive solutions to traffic behavior. And those may extend well beyond our theoretical borders. The city has a comprehensive complete streets plan and a policy that we can tap, and we do frequently, to demonstrate the types of things that can happen to not only ensure that other vehicles are safe, but our pedestrians and our bicyclists and our children and et cetera, our quality of life. So one of the things I really did ask the councilwoman's office to help us with is to identify the criteria that are used by DOT to determine when a specific treatment that is more permanent comes into play, whether that be an enforcement tool like that sign I just mentioned a minute ago, where you can, well, that's actually not an enforcement tool. A camera would be an enforcement tool, where if we could, you know, address enforcement in a way that achieves our objectives without bringing the police in, because frankly, the police don't have the time and we don't really want the police, but in particular, but that offers that enforcement capability that has more permanent structural slowdowns like speed bumps. And we've been able to articulate where we've seen those things, but there needs to be a very good comprehensive analysis of the conditions on these roads and what they merit on a technical basis. And so that's really where I'm going to be focusing a lot of my attention. To all of you, I say, please join us. We have not set up our next call. We'll do that soon, and we'll make sure that folks that are interested are involved. I've watched the Facebook page, so if you're interested, you can PM me there. And other than that, I welcome your assistance in helping us identify these little quick hits that I mentioned a minute ago. Does anybody have any questions? All right, Miller?
Okay, Councilwoman, did you want to add anything to that?
Sorry, try to find the mute button. Thank you, Jennifer. I think that was a good summary. I wasn't there, but Gabe from my office was there and let me know. But the new thinking with DOT is really important here because they're really thinking differently about how we do traffic calming and that we actually do it. So this is an exciting opportunity. The treatment that you see on 29th and, 28th and St. Paul, the other thing that's going to be happening there is the retiming of the lights. They may have done it already. So more to come. And thank you, Jennifer, for your leadership and working with other communities across that 28th, 29th Street corridor is going to be really important. So that's what we're doing. And the speed limit thing, I think a lot of people are interested in lowering the speed limit. We actually need permission from the state. And there was a bill last General Assembly to allow the city to do lowering speed limits using the Complete Streets Guide and not a massive expensive traffic study. And it passed the House but didn't make it in through the Senate. So we will do that again, because one of the things that we need in order to do the camera and make it effective is to lower the speed limit. And so that's what we need to lower speed limits everywhere, frankly. But they want to make sure that General Assembly, I think, just wanted to make sure that that we weren't going to lower speed limits just because the councilwoman wanted to lower it to 10. Like, that's not going to work. But you had to have standards, and it's all in the Complete Streets Manual. So when that bill comes back up in the General Assembly, we could certainly use your help. So I'll let you know more about that too. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And there was a question in the chat asking about how the lights are going to be retimed. There was a reply that the timing, I guess, is going from 90 to 45 seconds.
It's a little bit more. They are at 110 seconds, and they'll be going to 55. So it's the same ratio that that she was using, but different numbers. Yeah. Okay,
great. I will now go back to Northern District. Major Shorter, I saw you sign in. I appreciate your time. I know that you had several other meetings this evening, and I'm going to turn the floor over to you.
Good evening. I don't see myself, but I just still see your thing. So I'd like to talk about is some of the issues, the pressing issues that we've had in the district. The elephant in the room is the carjackings. We're working diligently with two other districts, the Eastern and the Northeast, to eradicate some of these problems, as well as our Regional Auto Theft Task Force. And as recently as, I believe it was yesterday, they arrested 3 juveniles in a car that was carjacked in the Northeast District, basically in the same street where they carjacked the vehicle from. The councilwoman and I have talked about it ad nauseum in reference to the resources that these young men need to prevent them from doing these acts all over again. I'm working with Hopkins, to increase patrols in the area. The state's attorney's office, we've met with them regarding how we can prosecute those crimes differently. I've met with ROCA, which they focus on the young people who are violent in nature and have a high recidivism rate for various crimes. Some stuff, you know, we doing the best we can do, which at this point we need to do more. But I will say there are things that the community can help out as far as this enforcement, such as when, you know, I've driven the area myself, probably put 30, 40 miles on my truck at any given day, just driving around endlessly, looking for those signs, whether it's a victim or a potential suspect, and try to identify those. So I'll start with the victims. I've walked up to many cars where people will pull up in a block, put their hazard lights on, and sit in the car while the car is running at night. So I walked up to, you know, are you waiting for someone? Are you delivering food? Oh, no, I'm talking to my friend. Well, where's your friend? Oh, they live right there. So I asked the question, well, if you come to see your friend and you're sitting outside for the last 15, 20 minutes with your hazard lights on and your car running, what's stopping you from just going in the house? Oh, you know, well, I was just waiting, you know, I wasn't sure if I really wanted to go in or not. So those things that, like that, you know, although we should be able to do those things willingly and freely, those are the kind of victims who are being targeted. So there are things that we can do, such as if you're going to see someone sitting outside in your car 15, 20 minutes, putting your hazards on, first of all, your hazards are attracting not just those with, you know, who want to commit nefarious activities, but just people in general. It's a tough situation, especially when it's juveniles who A, lack discipline, B, lack mentors, and 3, are struggling with the consequences that are given to them and for them regarding these issues. We've had a couple of juveniles who were actually on home detention, so to speak, on a box, which helped us link them to other crimes, not only in the Northern District, but throughout the city. So Charles Village isn't the biggest target in the city regarding the carjacking. It's a large group, as mentioned multiple times, of juveniles. Some do it for fun, some do it to commit other crimes. We had one person who was carjacked. They took the credit card and they just got scooters and drove around on the scooters for the rest of the night. There's really no rhyme or reason why they do it. When I was in the Northeast District, it started out as like a game, who could get the biggest key fob. But the key fob, what people don't know, is just that you use your remote. And we talked to a couple of them, like why did you do it? And it's based off of a video game. So I've been working on just trying to give them different avenues to release their stress. I'm working with several groups, We Our Us, Baltimore Brothers, and we have a mentorship group that meets starting next week, 4 to 5 days a week. And there's multiple programs within the program, financial literacy, coach class, just providing them mentorship to prevent them from committing certain crimes. And the goal is to them bring someone to the program. We're giving them stipends at the end of the week. So when we have these programs that need funding, a lot of times, and they all nonprofit, it's difficult for them to get the funding to address the bigger problems that Baltimore City has. So, I mean, I would just suggest that, you know, we all have a couple dollars that we can spend on Starbucks. How about donating to some of these nonprofit groups who address some of the issues that we have? We're doing the best that we can do. Like I said, we need to work on some issues that we have as far as the deployment. Some juveniles have been arrested multiple times for the same crime. And my officers just do as much as we can, even when we make the arrest, to just try to mentor them on the street about not committing those particular kind of crimes again. The winter is coming. Our larceny from autos, which is theft from auto. Some people say my car was robbed. They just use different terminology for it. It's spiking. So please don't make your car a gift for someone else. With the holidays coming, I would just ask that, you know, you not leave packages in your car. You not leave your handicap placards hanging, because some people really struggle financially, right? And mentally. So people have to eat. And I'm not condoning what they do to break into your car. But if you see someone homeless, right, ask them, you know, I'm not saying give them money, but just talk to them like, how can the community as a whole help you get out of your situation? Because that person that you talk to may remember the car that you drove by and say, you know what, that person tried to help me. And then you may have 25, 50 cents. I'm not going to do that. And they can also talk to their friends who do those things. Turn your lights on. A lot of streets that we walk through is just dim. Collectively as a neighborhood, if you illuminate your neighborhood, many people have cameras these days. We have cameras strategically placed around the Northern District, and we can see it better when the neighborhood or the situation is illuminated. Those of you who have garages at night, close your garage door. We've had people who have walked into open garages and broken into open vehicles. So we got to do some things collectively ourselves to limit those opportunities for those who commit those crimes. And when you limit those opportunities, it allows us a higher probability of arresting those people, because those chances for them to commit those crimes are much smaller in nature. I think if people can remember back to people my age, maybe a little older, maybe a little younger, there was a thing on television. It's 11 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? Well, it's 11 o'clock. Have you shut your garage door? Have you locked your car? Have you cut your night light, your porch light on in the front and the back? Those are some of the things that we can remember to do to make our neighborhoods safer. And also, when officers drive through neighborhoods, if you don't have a number on the back of your door, it's hard for us to count the houses in the neighborhood. So I would just really, really stress that people can get the numbers to put on your back gate, to put on your garage door, so we can know a house count. Like, what house is this? Is this 2420? Is this 2721? Is this 2725? If we get a call, a person is hiding in the back of, say, 2716, you know, the officer then has to say, okay, well, this is 246, and which gives the suspect or the burglar or whatever time to move from one portion to the next. But if you be more specific with those, it makes the officer driving down the alley easy to locate the property in question. So if anybody has any questions, I sure can put those in here, and I'll add this, and I'll send it to Melinda's email as well. That was one of the questions. I'm sorry.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any questions for the major? Okay, I'm just going to check real quick to see if Ron Brooks is able to get a hot mic here.
I'm here, ready. Thank you.
I'll turn the floor over to you from the CVCBD standpoint.
Thank you. Okay, so one of the things that we're struggling with is notification of critical incidents when they occur, such as carjackings. We believe that it's imperative that when these type of incidents occur, that the neighborhoods are aware that these things are occurring when they occur, as soon as we can make them available. As long as we can make that information available to you. Right now, we're putting together a sort of a program that will allow us, when something occurs, to get that information out to you as soon as we can. Apparently in the past, when, for instance, a carjacking would occur or a robbery would occur in a neighborhood, that information is getting to people, but it's getting to them slowly. So what we want to do is we want to try to get that information out to folks in the same day that we receive it from the Northern District. So that's sort of our plan moving forward.
Ron, can I address that real quick?
Sure.
So in the Northeast District, you know, I was really deeply embedded with Nextdoor, but Nextdoor got to the point where it was too much. People, you know, got on Nextdoor and it just became, disrespectful to some. So I got off of that. But I agree that if we could have a neighborhood alert that we could just come up with collectively, that we can send that information out. That way we can limit some of the misinformation. My staff can't send an email directly to every person within the Northern District that an incident just occurred. So, maybe I'll reach into the police department to figure out, is there some kind of system that we can develop as a pilot, like for specific neighborhoods when it goes out. I can't. I don't have anything that I can just send out a blast to everyone. We just had a carjacking. And those things, when they happen, we send out as much information as we can. But sometimes, we get, well, where did it happen? Well, what did they look like? Which is legitimate questions. But I've gotten in the past, well, was it a little black boy? Where do black kids live? And I'm not going to tolerate that. So we need to come up with some kind of system to put the information out where people are still being respectful about the question that they asked.
Sure. And, I just feel like it's information that folks ought to have. It's information that I would want to have in my own neighborhood. If we had a carjacking in my neighborhood, I would, and if there was a carjacking in my neighborhood and my neighbor knew about it, I would hope that he would share that information with the rest of the neighborhood. The fact that Northern, for instance, let's say it's a Friday evening, and a carjacking occurs in the Able neighborhood, and then I receive that information on Saturday morning. Well, I'm typically not in the office on Saturday morning, but I believe that the folks who live in that neighborhood should have that information on that calendar day. And we're going to do everything we can to get that information out to them. Not specifics. There are going to be some questions that folks are going to have that we're not going to be able to answer, like you said, for a variety of reasons. One of the biggest is the matter's under investigation. So we can't give them too much, but at least from a public safety perspective, we think folks should be armed with the knowledge that that type of incident occurred in their neighborhood.
And that's fair. I mean, so I guess if we can work together to figure out what kind of system we can use, I'm all for it. Whatever is going to make the neighborhood safer, and safer doesn't necessarily mean what we see, but it also is what we feel. So we can work on something collectively, right? People's perception is their reality. So if you don't feel safe, then realistically you aren't safe. So I agree with you. I mean, as much technology as we have, there needs to be something that we can just blast that out. And I agree. So I'll reach back to the technology part with the police department. And I guess if you could do the same or bring some of the ideas that you use in Baltimore County to try to push that information out, I'm willing to do that.
Yeah, I think that there is a commitment from CVCBD, and they'll be coming back to the table to help us have an official line of communication and share the information that is allowed to be shared, as well as what's appropriate. Asking about if it was a little black boy. Y'all don't want me to burn down Charles Village, but
I've gotten it. I'm just going to tell you, I've gotten it, and I've gotten it.
Yeah. So, and I think the other side of it too is I'm happy that just because of the recent things, the communities are pulling together to say, what can we do to prevent things from happening? And we're looking at how we increase lighting, and that's really what I want CVCA, CVCBD, and all the neighborhoods to be about. What can we do as a community to prevent these things from happening so we don't have to send out the alert? Best case scenario is that we come up with a really great plan and never have to use it. That would be my hope. So, okay, with that, I'm going to now turn it over to Christina Williams, and I hope that you will talk about the program that you have that does, the resources that you make available to give to people to help those folks who are on the street and all those other great things.
Absolutely. I'm also just going to quickly piggyback off of Ron and mention that we are currently
Oh, I think you went to mute real quick.
I have no idea how that happened. You guys don't want to hear from me tonight. That's fine. I can get back on my couch for 15 minutes for the next time, for the next thing. But I just posted in the chat that we have a community safety survey that we're putting out to all of our neighbors, even those who we maybe just come into the community for services or for church on Sundays. We want to just hear from everyone about, to Major Shorter's point, how safe you feel in the community and the things that you're most concerned about from a public safety standpoint. So if everyone can take a moment to complete that survey. It's also going to be available on our website. It went out in our newsletter, the last 2 newsletters over the past month. And we'll be starting to really push it out and share it through our social media and then at our upcoming community events as well. We did a in-person canvassing at the Able Festival and was able to receive a few responses that way as well. So we'll make sure to get a good representation of our community in responses from both renters, owners, our demographics. We'll make sure to look at all of that to make sure that we're representing everyone's thoughts equitably. So I just wanted to mention that as well. And then Miller, do I have the ability to share my screen?
Give me 1 second here so I can change that restriction. Let's see, here we go. You should be good now.
Okay, thank you. I just briefly wanted to show everyone, one of the things that we've been working on is our new website. And so I debuted it last night for our board. We still have a few edits and things that we want to work on, but our new website should be a lot easier to navigate for folks. And so you see here, we have our home screen. There's here, if you have not signed up for our newsletter, you can do so right from the home screen by entering in your email address. And then we have our bulletin board, which displays community events and other information that is important that we are sharing. One thing that I want to point out, 2 things I want to point out. We have a community meeting coming up on October the 27th at 7 p.m. You can get to that meeting just by clicking on this image from our website. And I'll show you another way you can get to meetings as well. And then we also have our Jack-o'-lantern Jamboree coming up on October the 30th following our community meeting that week. So a lot of things happening. These are old at this point, and we had this event posted. One other thing that I just want to scroll down and show that Miller was referring to, this yellow image on my left, I'm not sure how you all are seeing it, is a decal that we had created. We have a lot more if anyone is interested in having them. You may even see, if you've been to Streets Market and a couple of other businesses on St. Paul Street, you'll see them in their doors and windows. It's just an opportunity for you as a neighbor to, 1, be educated about some of the resources that we have in our community for our unhoused neighbors or anyone who's experiencing a challenge or crisis, recognizing that they're our neighbors as well, and anyone who is in need of something. By giving them the gift of sustainable resources, you're actually helping them a lot more than if you gave them a couple of dollars when they requested it. During this process, we were able to identify gaps in our resources in our community. So we don't have a place that serves dinner except for on Wednesday evenings in our neighborhood, and we don't have public restrooms, and we do not have shelters in our community. So we are now working on what our community could look like if we offered those additional resources for individuals. But by scanning the QR code here or by going to our website, and I can show you where on our website that's located, under community resources. And then you can scroll down to local community resources here, and it'll take you to a list of resources in the community. Excuse me. It's not working, then I need to fix that. So it just went live yesterday, so we have a few glitches to work out. But that resource will direct anyone to where they can find housing, food, health and wellness resources. If you're interested in donating, that is there as well. And then if you're interested in volunteering, that is listed there as well. We'll continue to add to this list. It'll continue to grow as we make more connections to partners, but this list of resources is specifically for places within our boundaries, so that we're not asking someone to travel all the way downtown without any means, so that they can get access to those resources. If you can also see here, just want to remind folks that if you need assistance, whether it's sanitation or safety services, you can go to our website and submit requests for those. We're also still requesting, if anyone has a personal camera that they'd like to register with us, you can do so here on our website as well. We've been able to connect people or connect their video cameras to the police when incidents have occurred. So it's a great opportunity just for people to know that there's a security camera or in that area and where it's pointing, how long you maintain your data, and who you wouldn't mind contacting you. So that's the kind of stuff that we ask of you. And then the other thing that I want to mention, Miller was on a meeting about code enforcement. Some of you may live around Guilford, and so I have coordinated with the Housing Code Enforcement Agency to come out next week to do some code enforcement in the area. At the same time, we've already increased the number of bait stations that we have in some of the area, and we'll be working with the city to identify locations where rat rub out through the city is necessary as well, because there has been a significant increase in rats throughout the community that we have been hearing a lot about. And so I know it's not just us, but as a result of the pandemic and when restaurants were closed, those rats found food in our neighborhoods and have not left yet. So we're doing our best to kind of get that under control and to make sure that folks are also abiding by sanitation laws by covering up their trash cans or not putting trash out inappropriately and giving the rats additional food to eat. So just wanted to give folks a heads up about that. Just in case you do live around Guilford, next week there will be code enforcement happening, and just to make sure that we're being extremely cognizant of what our responsibility is as neighbors. And then also to mention a new position that we're going to be filling very soon, a community outreach coordinator. That individual is going to be responsible for doing a lot more outreach into our neighborhood. And you'll also see an opportunity for you to be community ambassadors if you choose to. We will be creating a program called an ambassador program that will start in January. We'll be doing an application process later in this year for individuals who are willing to commit to 1 year of service. With that 1 year of service, you will be doing monthly trainings from mental health first aid to optimal community wellness and possibly even like some mediation. You'll also be given a small budget so that you can create events and opportunities for you and your neighbors that you're responsible for to come together and get to know each other, so that we're having more and more opportunities to engage with one another, share information, provide feedback to the benefits district about what's working, what's not working, what more things you'd like to see. And then also just share wins that we have and opportunities to be more of a community and not hide away in our homes as we tend to do sometimes. So looking forward to working with that group and over the year building out our ambassadors for the community. I think that's all I'm sorry, the mayor's cleanup is October the 23rd. So you'll also have an opportunity to clean out your homes ahead of the holidays. Because I know I have a lot of stuff, but I don't live near you guys and no one in my neighborhood does dumpster days. So I'll just be loading my stuff in my car and taking it to Sisson Street as I always do. But you guys don't have as far to go because it'll be an opportunity right in your neighborhood to dump all of your things.
Okay, thanks. I don't see any questions in the chat room or in the chat. Wow, just dated myself, I think, in the chat room. But anyway,
I'll also put my information in the chat in case anyone wants to email me later. Thank you so much for the feedback about the website.
So I want to now turn the floor over to John Spurrier, but before I do that, I just want to acknowledge that during COVID, we all were looking for things to do outside, and John stepped up to the plate and increased the number of outdoor music activities. I think the other day he mentioned that just this year we've done over 50 events, and John, I just have to acknowledge the amount of work, because some of them you have a barbecue, but even just getting the electricity, the bands, the scheduling, do we have to move because of rain? I know that it takes a lot of time, and I appreciate everything that you put into this. I've had the opportunity to attend several of these events and wish I had time to attend more. And if you haven't been to one of the music events, I would encourage you to do one before it's over. And I know that John has already started planning for next year. So John, one more thing. So John also did those T-shirts that had the cicada, not cicadas, right? The cicadas on them.
Yeah, the cicada.
And people bought those nationwide. I was in California walking down, someone stopped me, and I can't believe that here I am in California giving out the CVCA information to order those shirts. So John, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Miller. It's really a lot of fun. And I didn't really anticipate throwing myself into all these different events, but we're making the best of a challenging time. And the music gives our music bands and musicians and DJs in the neighborhood a chance to perform for an audience. And the audiences eat that music up because it is healing. And if you see the happiness it brings people, it's very rewarding. Anyway, yes, we've done 55 events since May. Friday nights, we have live music at Peabody Heights Brewery. That'll be wrapping up in a couple weeks, winding down by the end of October. On Saturdays at the brewery, when they weren't really having the private events because things were kind of in limbo, we gave a lot of local DJs an opportunity to spin some tunes. The Waverly Commons series in partnership with Waverly Main Street, it's been a learning experience, but that space has great potential. We started off with some great momentum, bringing people from many surrounding neighborhoods together. Unfortunately, the lack of shade, the heat of the summer, the storms, and the fact we were doing it every other week, we lost some of that momentum, but we've got great ideas for next year. And I know we're going to improve upon it. In addition to that, we've done 15 pop-ups, porch performances, or block parties. Most recently, we had a nice kickoff celebration for 26th Street Green, the new green space right along 26th Street between Hunter Street and Guilford Avenue. And that was awesome on the 17th of September. And congratulations to everybody that was involved in that. That's a great public space, a great amenity to the neighborhood. And I mean, it's awesome to see the dream become a reality. One of the great things about the music series is we've created a lot of goodwill in the neighborhood. It's brought neighbors together who haven't met one another. I've met many local musicians and DJs, and wherever possible, I've tried to work them into the schedule. And we've also we've done things around the neighborhood in venues, new locations where we haven't done things in a while. We did something in the Village Learning Place one night. We had a pop-up there. We had a pop-up at the Peabody Apartments at 27th Street in Maryland. We did a couple concerts on the grounds of St. Philip and James. And I've made a lot of contacts. I have a great location for an indoor series once it's safe to do so. And I think we'll probably, November through April, have a monthly event with live music to benefit. We'll do one a month and benefit 6 different local nonprofits, 3 on either side of Greenmount Avenue. And I'm really excited about that possibility. I realize, we'd be doing it next month or in November if things were a little safer to do so. The latest, we've got a 5-event series with the Friends of Lyman Park Dell, where we've partnered with them, Sunday afternoons. The next 3 Sundays, the 3rd, the 10th, and the 17th of October, we've got the Soul Magnets. They do soul, R&B, rock and roll. They're terrific, just outstanding musicians that will appeal to 3 generations. They'll be playing 3 p.m. Sunday. On the 10th of October, we've got the Scotch Bonnets. They do ska and reggae and a little bit of punky stuff, and they're a lot of fun. And then on the 17th, Sunday the 17th, we've got Remington Rounders made up of local musicians nearby. They're going to do 1 set of bluegrass and 1 that'll be kind of country and honky-tonk stuff. And anyway, so that's 3 p.m. the next 3 Sundays in the Dell. Then on Tuesday, October 12th, we've got a happy hour and cookout, our final one of the year. It will be at Miller's Court from 6 to 8 p.m. Tuesday, October the 12th. That's at 26th and Howard. We're going to have live music, and we're really open to suggestions. So if you have ideas for where we might put on an event with live music, please let me know. And I just want to thank all of the neighbors for their generous contributions to the music series, because the sponsors have been great and we wouldn't be able to do it without them. But the neighborhood has pushed it to the next level and put us in a great position for this year, but also moving forward for future seasons. So again, thank you, everyone. If anyone has questions, just let me know.
Okay, thank you, John. I really appreciate that. I would like to turn the floor over now to Councilman Stokes, who has joined us for any announcements that he may have.
Hello, everyone. Sorry about getting on late. We had some community stuff going on, so that's unexpected. But I'm really excited about the new playground, play lot, park, whatever you want to call it. Guess everybody on here know when that street actually collapsed, and with the community support and Sandy Sparks on land use and worried me about making sure the money's still there. So we did get the money. It's very fortunate. It went from 250,000 to 450,000. But I actually want to thank the community, but I also want to thank DOT, because Liam Davis and all them, because even though Sandy told me to stay on, I was watching it too. So I was real excited about the ribbon cutting and the block party. That was real nice. It brought the community. Then you didn't realize how many young kids we have in that area, and they have access and family to that particular park. And when we did the ribbon cutting, actually the actual party at the park, I didn't realize that we could take that actual space and a model. Could be a model for all over the city, not waiting for a street to collapse to use it, but just use it as a model in other neighborhoods. So when those homeowners are there, they can just leave out of their house and they have access to the park right there in the neighborhood, which put more people on the street, which reduces crime. It's a lot of actual things that actually park has already done in that community, and I'm just looking forward to it. Again, Ms. Sparks, I see you on there, and I did say at the party that Ms. Sparks, my hair is now grayer than hers, because she kept calling me and said, watch that money, make sure it's still there. So my hair, I done caught up with Ms. Sparks on the gray hair piece. But also I wanted to mention my great partnership with my colleague, Councilman Odette. We work very closely together, and I really enjoy that kind of relationship with her, because our districts overlap, but nothing overlap when somebody have a traffic calming issue or somebody gets shot, get carjacked. So we definitely have to work together, because one street could be a different district, and it don't make no difference if it's a crime and it affects somebody's and their families. And we definitely have to work together. And I just want to put that out there. Me and Councilman Odette work very closely together. I also want to mention, and I know we've been having a lot of gun violence here in the city, and I introduced this about 3 weeks ago, and you got no movement on it, but I'm looking at creating, I said this at the last meeting, a gun court, because we're finding out the same persons as actually doing this violence or robbing or shooting people, not the particular homicides, are sometimes still on the street because our court system is so backed up that somebody might have a gun charge, but they still out because they might be 6 to 7 months to a year later. What the gun court actually does is a speedy process. So if you have a gun charge and it's not particularly homicide, then we're going to make sure you get in court fast enough. Now it's up to the courts to make sure, decide if you're guilty or not. But at least it gives those persons who create these crimes in the city, there's no consequences. And I think if we use the gun court as a tool, just for, not for the commissioner's office, just for the community, to make people be conscious of what they doing out in the street, that is a good start. Even though we have to go talk to our state legislators, I have talked to President Ferguson. He actually liked it. I need to have a more robust conversation with, and I did speak with Commissioner Harrison on it, and he also, I also have another piece of legislation I have not introduced to talk to the commissioner's office, the school police, and the sheriff office, and find out what are they doing in addressing the violence in this city, and most important, are they having conversations with each other? Because we can't have 3 different law enforcement in the city and they're not talking to each other. And I'm not saying they're not, but I want to find out why they're not, or if they are, because they can actually come in and help out in some of these communities, help the commissioner, help school police, can help out in the sheriff office with some of the violence in the city. So that was 2 important pieces that I want to actually share, because that's been a hot topic throughout Baltimore City, and not just Baltimore City, all over the country. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilman. And I don't see any questions in the chat room. If anyone has any, speak up. If not, I'm going to see if Ivory Rich is still here, our new Barclay Elementary Middle School Community Liaison, who did an incredible job with the school supply drive for the start of the school year. And I wanted her to have a chance to speak to everyone and talk about the next time that the community can help to support the school. Ivory, are you still on the line? Yes, I see you here. See, you just have to get off mute.
Hey, real quick, Mr. President, real quick, I forgot to tell you, I did talk to Jennifer Milkey from Hopkins, and I do have 29th Street Community Center, $65,000 check.
Yay!
Center going on. So it is actually in my pocket. But I wanted to make sure, because they do great things there, so we got to keep funding that center there. So I forgot to mention that.
I agree with that sentiment, and I'm glad to hear, especially since we know a lot of the students from Barclay utilize the 29th Street Center. So that is very good news. All right, Ivory.
Hello, everyone. How are we this evening? So I'm Ivory Rich, the community school coordinator at the lovely Barclay Elementary Middle School. And I just want to say thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm always interested in working with community organizations and partnering. Recently, we partnered, or mostly in-depthly partnered with 29th Street. So hi, 29th Street partners, how are we? So just a few updates at Barclay Elementary School. So at Barclay, we are in the unique space to impact youth every single day. So it's important that we try to make those connections and those big impacts. One of our upcoming events we have every Thursday is our food pantry. So if you know of any individuals or families who are in need or may be willing to take a couple of bags of groceries, please stop by tomorrow, 10:30, 12:30, every single Thursday. Our fall festival is coming up at the end of October. October 27th, we're looking for volunteers who will be willing to do trunk or treat. I don't know how many of you have extra time, but please, I'll put my email in the chat. Reach out to me if you're available. It's only for 2 hours. If you can give me an hour, that would be amazing.
Ivory, do you need us just about that? Do you need candy? Do you need labor? What is it you need us to do?
Oh my goodness, I need all of it.
Okay.
What do children love for Halloween? Candy. So I am collecting donations of candy. Please, no nuts, peanut-free, nut-free candy, pre-packaged. And once again, I'll put my email address in the chat so you can reach out to me. Bodies, we're in need of bodies. If you can come, if you feel like decorating, if you're just in the spirit of fall, please come out. Come out and just give me a hand. We're planning on having a bouncy house, a petting farm, Maybe funnel cakes. Yes, I saw the eyes. Yes.
I want to
yes.
come to the petting farm. All right, let me just say, listen, CVCBD, CVCA, and I have a business that just asked me the other day how they can help you. We'll all be in touch about getting candy and stuff to you. So yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I know we were talking about safety in the community. So this is a good time for me to let everyone know that when I surveyed our parents at Barkley and the students, their top 3 concerns, the number 1 concern was safety. They do not feel safe coming to school. They do not feel safe leaving school. This came out of the mouths of babes. And as you all know, Barkley is pre-K to 8th grade. So we're not talking about the littles or just the bigs, everyone in between. They do not feel safe. That was number 1. Behind number 1 was number 2, food insecurity. So hopefully opening up a food pantry will slightly alleviate some of those. I don't know, maybe I can make some more connections. I also help families sign up for SNAP, food assistance programs, rental assistance, BG&E assistance, homeless shelter. We have several students who are homeless in our very own community. And a few of them live so far away. And the only reason why I know this is because part of what I do, I go door to door knocking, looking for those children who do not come to school. Where are they? Well, they're homeless. So their situation is transient. We move from one house to the next house. So I'm responsible for tracking down those babies. Number 3, lastly on their list, believe it or not, employment. Children are concerned that their parents are going to lose their jobs. What happens if mommy loses her job? Then where are we going to stay? Is someone going to come get me? Is CPS going to come knocking on our door? Parents are concerned about lack of employment skills. So over this school year, I'm looking to tackle some of those big concerns: safety, food insecurity, employment concerns. So I'll be reaching out to everyone to have some type of informational session for those parents and older siblings. We do offer work study. We do teach resume writing for youth. However, we also need to work on our large Latina population. So we'll be starting a ASOL program for those families who are interested in learning to speak English or learning to speak English more fluently. And just by doing that, there's so many doorways that can open up to those families. Lastly, I want to say that our out of school time program will be starting the 2nd week of October. And that's also just as important as all these other things, because this is what keeps our children safe and off the streets. Between Barkley and 29th Street Community Center, we keep our community as safe as possible for those children. We have several children who live across town. Parents are late picking them up because they have to Uber. It's very, very costly to Uber your children every single day to and from school. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, well, what about transportation? Where is the school bus? Well, there's a school bus driver shortage. There aren't any school buses. That's it. So unless you are a special education student, and even being a special education student, you must prove as a parent that your child is not safe walking to school. So we have so many barriers we need to overcome at Barkley, but I'm here to break some of those barriers down and partner with our community to make those things happen. And that's all I have for you today.
Aubrey, can you put your contact information in the chat box, I would like for, Ron Brooks to talk to you about your findings from the parents. I know that we put lights in around the school, the 29th Street Center. Most definitely will support your fall festival in a number of different ways, but our communities surrounding Barclay are all about taking care of the babies. And so we will respond to that accordingly. Thank you very much for being here. Quickly, I'm going to turn the floor over to Jennifer Milkey for the Recharge Charles Village that's happening October 15th and 16th, which is also the Fall Parents Weekend for JHU. Jennifer, are you still here?
I am.
Thank you.
But first of all, I would be remiss if I didn't say that Ivory has been, I'm the board chair of the 29th Street Community Center, and Ivory's just been an amazing partner. So I want to acknowledge her, but also want to publicly thank Councilman Stokes for his advocacy and getting the funding. So I do want to say that he did call me, and that check is burning a hole in his pocket. So I'm going to try to get with him tomorrow. So then putting my Hopkins hat on. So yes, Johns Hopkins is working with actually some of the partners in the community, the Charles Village Civic Association, the Charles Village Community Benefits District, Central Baltimore Partnership, and Charles Street Development to pull off or do an event and to support our businesses in the Charles Village retail area. And that will be October 15th and 16th. What the whole point of that is really, we've had the streetscape project on St. Paul Street that caused disruption for our businesses for a couple years and for our residents, but then the pandemic hit. So they've been sort of been through a lot, and so this is an effort to really kind of hyper focus and uplift those businesses using the Hopkins local brand. And again, the partners that I mentioned to really spotlight those businesses. The idea is that we're going to drive customers to the businesses and encourage them to purchase goods or services in the businesses, and then use their own personal social media platforms to basically publicize, what they bought, what business they're in. And at the end of the day, after the weekend, those customers that have demonstrated the most social media posts to us will have a chance to win some prizes from the local businesses. So far, we've got about, I believe, 7 of the local businesses have donated gift cards or brunches, and so that's the incentive to drive the customers to come to Charles Village and shop in our businesses. I do want to give a shout out to John Spurrier. He's been helping us, look at community spaces where the Barnes and Noble and also the community space that's next to streets. So we're going to program with some of the musicians that he's already working with. So we'll have some musicians there. We're going to close the 3100 block of St. Paul Street going north, have it extended outdoor seating for those businesses, but anybody else nearby that, if there's some of the businesses that don't have outdoor seating, if they want to, be COVID safe and go down there, and want to give a shout out to Christina for assisting with that. But it's been a real effort. I know you haven't seen anything as far as a flyer, but I think we'll probably get those ready by Friday. We'll have social media posts that will, use all our partners to make sure you have it, you can share it. It's again, the goal is for the community more broadly outside of our community, but also the Johns Hopkins community to use that weekend to really support our local businesses. Any questions?
Thank you. Let's see. We have a question about 29th Street and for updates, and we were going to get back. I think that we need to schedule another meeting about that. I know that I've asked Jennifer and they haven't had updates because they all took a step back and wanted to take all the comments and suggestions. So let me make a commitment that I'll touch base with Jennifer this week and then get back and email everybody and put it in the newsletter next Tuesday about whether or not we can schedule another meeting just for that topic, because that was a very hot topic. And I know that we want to do updates for that. So we have 2 more really quick, Washington, just 2 more items, because, I like to keep this to a 90-minute. We're almost there. I would like to turn the floor over to JHU off-campus housing for a couple comments about some things that they are working on.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. My name is Hannah, for those who do not know me. I am the manager of our off-campus housing office that supports our students who live off campus in our communities, so in our row homes and in our commercial properties. So just to be brief and quick, we have been receiving a recent series of complaints and issues from our neighbors. And I just wanted to reaffirm that we are working through those pretty diligently. Unfortunately, we're not always able to follow up the way people would like. So I just wanted to reaffirm that every call that comes in through our public safety dispatch line, is followed up on within 5 to 10 minutes. And if that call is found to involve our students and be a violation of our code of conduct, a report is written and that is processed through our conduct office. So I just want to reaffirm that we do take every call seriously and every call is followed up on. In addition to that, I work very closely with John Walters, who is our student community liaison. And so we do regularly touch bases with our students, more particularly in our row homes, with educational opportunities, as well as with newsletters and things like that. We're always looking for opportunities to collaborate. So if anyone has any issues or concerns or events that you would like us to share with our students, or would like our sponsorship for just getting for event planning and things of that nature, please feel free to reach out. I know I'm rushing through this because I'm trying to respect everyone's time. I will put my contact information for our office in the chat box. So truly feel free to reach out, and I hope to see all of you all soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Did you want to say anything about any upcoming education programming or anything?
So we are working on a mailer door tag process. So when I say I hope to see you all soon, I mean that literally. I hope to be knocking on some doors pretty soon, hopefully by the end of next month, once we gather some support around the initiative and actually create the door tag. So that will be shared amongst you all. So really, you might see me within a month, and I hope you will say hello. And answer the door too.
Fresh baked cookies work the best if you want.
Oh yes, we have some nice neighbors who are willing to share their specialities with us. So, so thank you.
Thank you. Just drop your info in the chat for everybody. Brian Beverly, I know that you made a request. You had some comments. Brian is a board member and also chair of the CVCA security. So I'll turn the floor over to him quickly.
Good evening, everyone. I will also be respectful of everyone's time. And Miller's being too modest. I'm not the chair. I ride second chair to him. But thank you. Four very quick items. Item number one, along those lines, Ron and Kristen will touch base. I'll be working with Miller to see if we can, Christina, see if we can touch base sometime a couple weeks from now regarding some of the safety issues and if CVCA's issues. We've talked about the major crime issues, but we also have, I won't say minor issues, but porch piracy. We've got issue of drug addicts going through trash cans in using the alleys. I heard a very excellent suggestion tonight about making sure everyone has their address on the back of their fence. So that way, if the police do need to come, they don't have to count the houses. So we'll touch base with hopefully in a couple of weeks. And Ron, great to meet your acquaintance. Number two, in terms of changing the timing of the traffic lighting, I'm not involved in that, but just want to make a suggestion that as it relates to St. Paul Street between 7:30 a.m. and 9 a.m., please be sensitive to the fact that during that period of time, that's a very heavy rush hour. You have people driving out of the city. You have people driving to Penn Station. You've got the college circulator. You have the Baltimore City circulator. You have MTA buses and the Johns Hopkins shuttle are all proceeding southbound. Now, obviously, there is a pedestrian issue at the corner of St. Paul and 26th Street where you have Margaret Brent Elementary. I would recommend now the expensive solution is to put flashing yellow lights there. But also, you may want to consider rumble strips because we have rumble strips on Calvert Street as you approach 33rd Street as you get near Union Memorial. So just want to remind everyone as we talk about changing the timing of the lights for traffic calming, rumble strips toward area along the areas that intersect with heavy pedestrian traffic are also a solution. Number 3, as we talk about improving the street lighting, keep in mind that street lighting is often a seasonal issue. That if you want to know how good your lighting is, always check in the winter. You see, because in the winter, all the leaves are gone from the trees, so obviously your very tall lights are working very well. But we've noticed on our block that during the spring and summer, particularly summer, our block is dark. Well, the block wasn't dark in the winter, but when you have all those tall trees, the trees are actually blocking all the lighting. So as you talk about lighting issues, please keep in mind that is seasonal. And item number 4, this is a very minor issue. I know our 2 new signs at the corner of St. Paul and 33rd Street. The other night, one of them was out. I don't know if the bulb should not have blown out already, the LEDs, but just something that I noticed. It may be fixed by now, but just as an FYI. And it's it from Brian Beverly. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Brian. And I agree that I really want to talk about the numbers on the back of homes. That was a project that I did in Chicago many years ago, and we should really get coordinated. So now let me open the floor here. Sandy, I think I see I think you're signaling me.
Yes, Able for many years had their street numbers on the alley, right by their back gate, painted on the alley itself. So that was very effective. I mean, that's like 20 years. I mean, long time they had that. So I'd recommend.
Let's do that. We just bring a bucket of scrub and then wash the area.
Right on the alley. It doesn't disturb the property. It's just on the in front of the back gate.
Okay, Tom Sawyer. It's a lot of fun to paint numbers on the back of the alleys. Christina, I see your hand.
So the Benefits District is already working on a stenciling project for sidewalks and alleys that we plan on implementing during the cleanup. Maybe that's something we can encourage folks to do after we clean the alleys and out people's yards and things like that. Then we do a quick little art project, and we can provide or try to provide as much paint and stencils for numbers as possible to get that done quickly, especially if we can get enough volunteers to come out and help with that. So I'll be following up with Jaquay and Hannah around getting the word out to some students to help with that, if that's amenable to everyone.
I think that sounds great. I think I've used a spray can a couple times, so I can pretend I'm a graffiti artist. No skills. So, okay, other
Major
folks.
Short is still on this call.
I can pretend to be a student and do it.
Any other thoughts? I'll just say real quick, the recycling carts have been coming, and I was excited to hear that Harwood was like the first neighborhood in the city to get delivery. And so that was adorable because who knows Harwood, unless you're here. But they are dropping, and I'm excited to see those used properly. Next general membership meeting is November 17th, right before Thanksgiving. Please remember to vote. We'll see what the results are. Maybe y'all got rid of me. I don't know. And anything else? Good for the order.
Well, Miller, it's Janice, and
Yes.
and I would just encourage anybody who hasn't voted. I see a few faces on the chat or in the picture bar who I know are members who have not voted. So if you intend to vote, now is the time to do it. And if anybody would like to vote not using the internet, but would just like to tell me what their vote is, I'm happy to record that as well. I will say that so far, all the votes have been yes. So it looks like our slate will be approved, has been approved. I'll take one last quick look at and it looks like we don't have anybody else coming in. So I would say that our slate has been approved, and I do thank everybody who's voted.
Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining us on a gorgeous night. Unfortunately, the O's are losing to the Red Sox. We're at the top of the 7th, 1-0. I was hoping we were gonna end at 8 so I could zoom down and catch the rest of the game. I'm not gonna make it tonight, so let's all send positive mental energy down to Camden Yards that we win. And I'll see everyone around. We have a lot of great events coming up. Thank you for being here this evening. With that, good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.